This week on ICN, the stories you should have heard but didn't. You have an open invitation for the government to search your home, and you didn't even know it. The U.S. is ranked in the top 10 for monitoring its people. A meeting of the elite didn't take place in Greece this week. Cheerios, a drug? Those stories and more next on Informed Citizen News. Hello, and welcome to ICN, Informed Citizen News, May 24th, 2009. Do you have a wireless router, cordless phone, remote car door opener, baby monitor, or cell phone in your house? The government claims the right to enter your home without a warrant to inspect those devices. This was brought to light this week in an article in Wired magazine. Anything using RF energy, we have the right to inspect it to make sure it is not causing interference that includes devices like Wi-Fi routers that use unlicensed spectrum, says FCC spokesman David Fisk. The FCC claims it derives its warrantless search powers from the Communications Act of 1934, though the constitutionality of the claim has gone untested in the courts. In 2009, nearly every household in the United States has multiple devices that use radio waves and fall under the FCC's purview, making the Commission's claimed authority ripe for a court challenge. In a 2007 case, a man was rebroadcasting an AM radio station through a CB radio in his home. An FCC agent tracked the signal to his house and asked to see the equipment. Donald Winton refused to let him in, but did turn off the radio. Winton was later fined $7,000 for refusing entry to the officer. The fine was reduced to $225 after he proved he had little income. If inspectors should notice evidence of unrelated criminal behavior, then you can be prosecuted. The Supreme Court has held such searches to be legal. Having any radio frequency generating device in your home allows the government in the door to search, and you thought you lived in a free country. A private company, CryptoHippie Inc., released a report called The Electronic Police State, of which assesses the status of governmental surveillance in 52 nations around the globe for 2008. The United States ranked 6th in the world for having the most aggressive procedures for monitoring residents electronically. We ranked just behind China, North Korea, Belarus, Russia, and the United Kingdom. Each country was graded on a set of 17 factors that included the need to produce identity documents within the country, financial monitoring, communications monitoring, constitutional protections, and respect for due process rights. Company spokesman Paul Rosenberg said, "In an electronic police state, every surveillance camera recording, every email you send, every internet site you surf, every post you make, every check you write, every credit card swipe, and every cell phone ping are all criminal evidence, and they are held in searchable databases a long, long time. Whoever holds this evidence can make you look very, very bad whenever they care enough to do so. You can be prosecuted whenever they feel like it. The evidence is already in their database." Mr. Rosenberg went on to say, "Perhaps you trust that your ruler will only use his evidence archives to hurt bad people. Will you also trust his successor? Do you also trust all of his subordinates, every government worker, and every policeman?" The report itself asks, if some leaders behave badly, will you really stand up to oppose him or her? Would you still do it if he had all the emails you sent? If he has records of every website you've ever surfed, every phone call you've ever made, if he knows everyone you've ever sent money to? The essential part of freedom is the right not to be monitored by the state. If you don't have privacy, can you really be free? Our next story is not a news report about a meeting that didn't happen last week in Greece. The meeting that didn't take place included a lot of heavily armed guards, helicopters, and speedboats that provided a blanket of security. The people who didn't attend the meeting that didn't take place at the luxurious Astor Palace Resort last weekend are not members of an elite fictional group, often referred to by crazy conspiracy theorists as Bilderbergers. The non-participants did not include royalty, politicians, bankers, plutocrats, and backroom power brokers. and certainly did not discuss the great global problems of the day and what they might do to manipulate them. It is not believed that U.S. Treasury Secretary Timothy Geithner, along with Google boss Eric Schmidt, World Bank President Robert Zoellick, and members of several European royal houses were in Athens for the secret invitation-only event. We wanted to make sure that you didn't hear about this conspiratorial gathering of the world's elite. And if anyone asks, you didn't hear it from us. The London Telegraph reported this week the existence of inflatable mortuaries and the planning for express funerals in the event of a flu pandemic in England. It was confirmed in 2006 that officials have ordered millions of extra body bags as a precaution. Among other plans listed in the article, limited choice of types and sizes of coffins that will be offered to ensure manufacturers can meet the demand. Those arranging funerals are asked for basic and shorter services at the chapel or for memorial services to be held at other venues such as the home or place of worship. Working hours will be increased and mortuary businesses moving to 7-day-week operation. The crematoria have been put on notice to prepare for a pandemic and consider moving to a 24-hour workday. Definitely some serious preparations taking place in the UK for a flu pandemic. The American Academy of Environmental Medicine, AAEM, has just issued a call for an immediate moratorium on genetically modified foods. Citing several animal studies, the AAEM concludes there is more than a casual association between GMO foods and adverse health effects, and that GMO foods pose a serious health risk in the areas of toxicology, allergy and immune function, reproductive health, and metabolic, physiologic, and genetic health. The AAEM chairperson, Dr. Amy Dean, notes that multiple animal studies have shown that GM foods cause damage to various organ systems in the body. With this mounting evidence, it is imperative to have a moratorium on GM foods for the safety of our patients and the public's health. In a perfect world, the consumer would have a choice of regular and GMO foods. The problem is that labeling requirements for GMO foods are inconsistent at best. Give the people a choice and let the free market decide. The FDA has found serious violations in the way General Mills promotes the breakfast cereal Cheerios. A clinical study showed that eating 2 1.5-cup servings daily of Cheerios cereal reduced bad cholesterol when eaten as part of a diet low in saturated fat and cholesterol. The FDA does not dispute the findings of the study. They contend that cholesterol is a disease, and advertising that Cheerios reduces cholesterol is marketing a treatment for a disease. The FDA claims that Cheerios would be considered a drug and would need to be regulated as such. We can see the new campaign now, Cheerios, the drug of champions. The FDA turns a blind eye to GMO foods, but it is all over Cheerios for reducing cholesterol. Ron Paul's bill, H.R. 1207, to audit the Fed, now has 179 co-sponsors. The bill is working its way through the legislative process, and we will be tracking its progress as it moves toward a vote. Thank you for joining ICN this week. Americans need to be informed, so please send our link to your friends and family. From all of us at Informed Citizen News, have a great week.